Oh my gosh. Streaking for the minis. Okay, so we got a puppy on stream. Say hi, Toby. Hi, Toby. Okay. He'll be joining us for today's stream because we're not actually doing much but chatting. Right? We're going to be going over Marvel. I almost said Marvel versus Capcom. Marvel Crisis Protocol minis. And I want to rank them from S to F. Pretty obvious, like the middle 3, 4 are pretty standard. All right. S is ones that I think are outstanding, and F are ones that I think are really, really bad. So pretty simple. We're gonna rank these based on the minis themselves, not how they play in the game, not the characters, just the minis, the sculpts. What do I think of them in particular? So we're gonna start with Baron Zemo. He is a very interesting character, mostly because he came out with the core box, the original core box. So when this game came out, and he's like a nobody in the story. I think he's like I don't know, minor Captain America villain, right? But boy howdy, I'm gonna chat a little bit about the gameplay, but it's not gonna actually be involved in the tier listing, right? Not gonna affect his ranking. But Baron Zemo is one of those characters that, like, when you make a game, you don't necessarily go into it knowing exactly how everything's going to work within the ecosystem, right? And Baron Zemo is this kind of character. You can obviously tell. They kind of crafted the perfect character without realizing it. So it's interesting that you still see this guy all the time. And I honestly, I think his model's really good. I'm going to say it's like a B. It's like a strong B. He's got a pretty basic kind of like pose, but I like his outfit. He's got a pink mask, which is weird, and he's just kind of posing with his sword. There you go, posing with his sword out. So, yeah, for a model that stands the test of time in game, the fact that his mini actually also pretty much stands the test of time, I think is great. I want to say the same thing for Black Widow. I think Black Widow is really strong. Maybe not the most, like the best looking face in the game, but I think as a painter, you can do a lot of things with what you get, right? So I would put her in B as well. A character you still see all the time, so it's not like they don't stand up to the newer models, right? You see them right next to the newer models, and they look just fine. So, I say Captain America is at the top of B. He is another core box model, but he's kind of the quintessential Avengers leader. And because of that, you see him all the time. So you can tell, right? There are some minis that just clash against the newer models that have come out recently. And I don't think Captain America does, especially if you look at his other versions, which we'll get to eventually, I'm sure. But there are other Captain Americas, and I think this version's still the one I like the most. So mini stands out and is still really solid. Next one is Captain Marvel. I like this mini a lot, but I am going to admit that I don't think she is as well. I'm not going to say as well posed. She's not as dynamic as she could be, right? Out of all the base roster minis, I think Captain Marvel could have been a more explosive, more dynamic model. And they went for kind of a generic hero pose, and that's all right. I like it. I think it's pretty basic, so I'm going to put it in C. Brock Roslo, or whatever his name is. Crossbones. I think Crossbones is a strong C. I think he's really good. There's really not much you can do with this character, right? He's Crossbones. He's another like pretty B-list Captain America villain. But I think if you stand the two minis up, they actually do kind of match in their energy, and I like that. So I'm going to put them in a strong C. We have Dr. Octavius. I'm going to say Dr. Octavius is probably... I'm going to say he's just below Captain America for me. I think Dr. Octavius is another one of those minis that stands out as a very early mini. I mean, it's a core box, right? But he, I think, stands in contrast to the design philosophy of the newer minis. He's very simple. He's just crossing his arms. But part of his vibe is that his tentacles are doing the work, right? So it matches his character. I think for that reason, and for the fact that I like the character a lot. I mean, he's just a great mini. I want to put him there. I think he's really strong, even though he's not as dynamic as his other versions in the game. You know what I mean? All right, Iron Man. I'm going to put that in D. My issue with Iron Man, although I like the mini a lot, I think he's a good example of someone who, like Captain Marvel, could have been way more interesting. I'm going to keep using the word dynamic, but that's just because I'm struggling to think of a word. I honestly think the character Iron Man could have been doing a lot more than just shooting a beam out of his hand. You know, he's almost T-posing. If you lift his other arm up, he's kind of T-posing. So, and I'm gonna say Red Skull is probably at the bottom of C. Red Skull out of the core box minis, pretty similarly basic, but it matches his character. I'd put him at the top of C. Let's do that, top of C. I think it mixes or matches his character. You know what I mean? He's pretty stoic. He's just kind of holding the cube. It gives you, as the painter, a lot to work with, right? So I think that's cool. Spider-Man is going in the F tier because this boy, I think, is the example of models that could have been more interesting, but they just didn't. Spider-Man is like often depicted upside down and stuff. Like, you could have done anything with this character to make them more interesting, I think. Ultron is gonna go up into like strong B. I think he's a really good example of just like a villain pointing that is still really cool, right? Like that is actually a really sweet pose, and it matches his character. The fact that he doesn't have grunts was fixed in the Earth's Mightiest core box, but in the base core box, I think he's one of the best looking minis. So now that we're done with the core box, or almost, or I think, yeah, that doesn't look like everybody, but whatever. Hulk is gonna go in bottom of C. Wow, bottom of C. I think Hulk pose is pretty damn boring. He's the Hulk, and he's just kind of like putting a hand out and got an arm back, kinda. He's like stop, criminal scum. I don't know. It's really not my vibe. I like painting the model. I like painting the mini, and like it fits all of my criteria of like you could throw this guy against the wall and he's not gonna break. But it's just not that interesting. He's not really doing anything, and that's fine. But whatever. Okay, so speaking of which, characters that aren't doing anything, I still think that MODOK is... Honestly, I'm going to put him in A. He does not do anything in his pose, he's like anti-dynamic, but he's a floating head. Like, he's a floating head with little baby arms and little baby legs. He doesn't need to be dynamic, and that's, I think, something that the Scientist Supreme version kind of went overboard on. So I'm going to give MODOK Original an A, and I know that's controversial because he's a big ugly head, but that's kind of like, it matches, it fits. Similarly, we're going to put Black Panther up here at the top of A. Guy's very simple, right? But he looks sick. He looks like he's about to pounce on you. Pretty much just matches the character one-to-one. I can't think of any other way you'd want to pose him, but obviously they've done that with a bunch of the other characters. I think Killmonger is probably... I'm going to put him at right below Ultron. They have a similar pose, right? They're kind of just like pointing at their opponent. I don't mind Killmonger as a model. I think he's actually a pretty cool mini, but he doesn't match the sort of level of visual interest that the Black Panther mini does. Okoye. I think Okoye is a really strong mini. I'm going to put her up in A again for just like those stoic characters that don't need to be leaping on a hero rock or some bullshit. You know what I mean? I think she fits the bill for a 2-threat character. You don't want to upstage your higher threat superheroes, right? And I think she's like what, like one of the royal guards of Wakanda. She matches that vibe. So Shuri, I'm gonna say a little bit less so. She's probably in D tier with her New York counterpart. I think with Shuri you could have done something more interesting than just her holding her arms up, right? She could be doing like one of the blasts out of her gauntlets. She could be doing a lot of things, but you know, I think that's like early model syndrome, and the characters that benefit from early model syndrome are up here, and the characters that don't are down here. That's basically what you're seeing right now, right? I think Venom, similarly, I'm gonna put them in like top of C. I think it's a strong mini, but they're not doing anything. And this is Venom, right? This is Venom we're talking about. Someone who can like turn into goo and a bunch of other stuff. So Hela, I think, is up here in minis that are just really sweet. An early mini too, right? One of those minis that I want to say came out right after the core box, but just shows what Atomic Mass Games can do, right? When they want to. Loki, I think similarly, he's up here with the guys posing and pointing. I'll put him just under Ultron, but I do think, despite the pattern, I think he's a really cool mini. Yeah, not much else to say about him. I think I haven't painted him yet, but I think he looks really sweet, right? All right, we got original Thor. He's gonna go in top of C. Once again, this character could be more interesting, right? They could be doing more, but they're not. And honestly, if you line up all the base Avengers, he wouldn't look too out of place, right? But I think based on the new models, he clashes a lot, right? Valkyrie, I think, is she's probably top of B, where I really like her mini. I like her pose. I like just about everything about her. I wouldn't change much, right? I know there's a new Valkyrie coming out, so we'll see how that looks. But I wouldn't change much about them. Here's an older model that I don't think benefits from the stoicism that it currently has, but I feel bad putting it in D because he is a rather stoic character. Let's put him on the top of C. Vision doesn't really do much. He's kind of just like pointing his arm out once again, just like a zombie. But that kind of matches his character. I don't know. He is phasing through some of the terrain on the ground, which I think is nice. That gives painters an opportunity to do something interesting there. But, whatever. So we have Winter Soldier next. I think this is actually really solid. I like this model a lot. I'm going to put him right beneath Valkyrie. I think he could have been like looking down line of sights or something like that. But walking with the rifle, I think, looks just fine. And it's a older mini, so it's a little bit less dynamic, a little bit less interesting, a little bit less like kinetic. That's another word I could use. But kind of matches his character. It kind of matches the overall sort of tableau of current minis, right? So I don't have an issue with that. Groot, I think, looks weird. I don't know if that's just me, but I'm going to put him at the top of C. I think Groot looks weird. I don't think it's because he's not doing stuff. Like, he's doing things. It's not like he's not an interesting character. I just think he looks a little weird. He's like lopsided. His silhouette, I think, looks a little strange, but either way. So Rocket is going to go, probably like right there, right below Black Widow, Black Panther. I think Rocket is one of those characters, especially in this game, that shows off just how much you can do with a tiny little mini. Not only is it a miniature, but it's a little raccoon with a gun. So it does kind of, it does a lot with the space that it takes up. And I think that mini looks great. I also think that what they did with this guy was pretty great. I'm going to say he's the top of B. I forget his name. Star-Lord. Who? Yeah, exactly. I think he honestly looks great. I don't like the character, but I don't mind the mini. I think the mini looks pretty good. What are you looking for, Templeton? You want to go out? You have to go out, Templeton? Yeah, is that what you want? Let's go. Come on, buddy. Go. See if you get the car. There you go. Oh, watch out, buddy. All right, sorry about that. Hello. We're back. All right, so now we have Gamora. I think Gamora looks really good, actually. I think she's probably up here with Rocket in terms of doing something pretty sweet. In character, I think she just looks really great. I don't have an issue with that model at all. Another Guardian going up there. I think Nebula is right in front of Gamora, actually. I think they look really great. Once again, another 2-drop, but she doesn't upstage her sort of higher threat minis, while still looking threatening because that's what she does. Okay, so here are some newer minis that I am not super enamored with, but they still are gonna get like top of C, right? I don't think there's anything technically wrong with them. In fact, this Black Widow is doing something, right? She is like diving backwards and shooting from her wrist guns, so I think that's pretty cool. Hawkeye, I don't think you could do a whole lot more with Hawkeye, so I'm gonna put him just below Black Widow 2 in the same kind of. What are you gonna do with Hawkeye? I don't know. No idea. But I do think they did a good enough job, and there's really not much else to say besides, yeah, they passed. C is a pass. Okay, so Drax is I don't know where to put Drax. I might put Drax like, yeah, probably here, right above Hulk, but not much. I don't see, like, he's more interesting. He's like ready to fight, but he's also just like very kind of basic pose. All right, and then we have Ronan the Accuser, who is going up there. Another Guardians character, just very cool. Come on, he's holding his hammer out. I don't know. There's something about this character that is both incredibly stoic and kind of like, not, I'm just going to say synonyms for it, right? Not showing off too many emotions. But I think their pose is very strong. It sets a really nice silhouette. And it gives the painter a lot of room to paint and express themselves. So I appreciate that. A mini I've actually been painting recently is, who's this guy? Black Dwarf. I actually really like this mini a lot. I don't think it's like exceptional, but I'll put it at the top of B as one of those minis that I think passes the throw it against the wall test, while also giving you a lot of places to express yourself as a painter. And we're going to start ads, but there are still some of you with us, so I'm going to keep going. And this will be a VOD that'll be uploaded later, so no worries. So now we have Ebony Maw. I think this mini is going to go in the dumpster for me. I really, I hate this mini's base. Okay, he's not as bad as any of these guys. There we go. I hate this mini's base. I have broken it so many times that I've just like wrapped it in, what do you call it? This doesn't say what it is, but it's basically like jewelry wire to make it not, make it more stable. It's annoying. I hate it. And he could have had something floating next to him that he's like mind controlling. So what I ended up doing is I used that same wire and I attached like a rock to it. So I think my edit of the mini, or kit bash of the mini, I think looks better than the original. Okay, Thanos, going into S. Do you have any questions? This mini is amazing. It's very simple, but that doesn't matter. Like it shows everything it needs to show. He's stepping off of his throne. He's using his Infinity Gauntlet. Like there's not much I would change about this mini. I'd say similarly, Corvus Glaive is pretty dope. Like this mini is pretty sweet. He's not like doing anything per se, but he's also not T-posing either. Gives the painter a lot of room to express themselves, and the center point being the face and the chest, I think is kind of framed really well with the rest of the mini. So love that mini. Proxima Midnight is going up in the high tier of A. I think it's a really strong mini. She is actually kind of like striking someone with her spear, so it really is evocative. It kind of helps sell the fantasy of you throwing your spear and teleporting after it. I really, really like that model a lot. All right, we got Gwen. She is going to be... Ooh, she's probably just behind Black Dwarf in terms of minis that I think are really cool looking. But I feel like I think she's kind of a pain to paint. I don't know. I don't really have a good reason for it. That's just kind of a my thing, but I do like the mini a lot. All right, Miles is going into go fuck yourself tier. No, it's going to the bottom of B. I love this mini, but I hate that it's a tiny little hand connecting to a mailbox, and that's all you get. This guy has broken off his mailbox more often than I can tell you. And although I love the pose, I love almost everything else about the character, it's not designed to be a very functional mini, right? It is a display mini. It's not a play mini, because you're going to break this fucker off his thing more often than not. I have pinned it with a paperclip, and it still breaks. So I hate that, dude. I hate that mini. Outside of the fact that it's an amazing mini. Someone who is much better posed is actually Green Goblin. I'm going to put him at the top of... No, I'm going to... Where does he go? I'm going to put him just before ahead of MODOK. There we go. I think this mini is really great. It's one of those that's got a whole lot of action in the mini, in the posing. They are also very sturdy on their base with the kind of like smoke pillow or pillar, whatever, that their glider is standing on. And they have basically a jack-o'-lantern coming out of their hand. So there's just a lot of kinetic energy to this mini that I really appreciate. All right, we're doing Punisher is going down in D tier for basically just T-posing. He's Captain Morganing. Like, that's it. And he's got a grenade? Like, I don't know. I don't think he's that interesting. He, like, at least the Winter Soldier, his, like, contemporary gun dude, looks like he's in a fight in the action. This guy, Punisher, looks like he's posing for, like, a cover. This is not really for me. And we got another F. We got Taskmaster. I think Taskmaster looks weird. He looks like he's deflecting a bullet or something, like deflecting an attack. But that looks really weird when you're like across the battlefield from your opponent. So I don't know. I think they could have chosen almost any other pose and I would have been happy. Doctor Strange is at the top of C because he's an early model. I can forgive a little bit of the lack of interest in the model because so much of it is devoted to his spells. And I think those look really cool and give the mini and the painter a chance to kind of like, you know, work together. But then you look at his body and he's just like, you know, he's just sitting there. So I don't know. I think they could have done a lot with this guy. Like, you know, the next Doctor Strange model, I think, is an example of that, but whatever. Wong, I think, is really cool, really strong. He's just like a very basic version of himself, right? But that's he's a monk, dude. Like, he's a mystic monk. He's going to be stoic. That's his thing, so that works. I like it. Ant-Man is 2 minis. I'm not going to rank them separately. I think they look sweet as fudge. I think they look really cool. I'm going to put them up in A because I think it really expresses the character, both having 2 minis and also just the fact that they look so in tune with one another. The posing is really great too. Looks awesome. Wasp, for similar reasons, I'm going to put them up there. Like, just really cool models. Like, I'm just really proud of the Atomic Mass Games team for being able to pull this together. They look great. Ghost Rider is going up in A. Yeah, I'm gonna put him above. I'll put him above Ronan. I think Ghost Rider is one of those characters that like should be brittle and annoying, but he's not. I'm very surprised. Any character with a whip, like wargaming players will tell you, whips are horrible to build and to paint and all that stuff because they break all the time. But for some reason, this guy's little whip has not broken on me, and otherwise, he looks awesome. So I dig it. Crossbones, I think Crossbones is probably like right below Black Dwarf in terms of they don't have to be that interesting, right? They don't have to be like the silhouette doesn't have to be anything but unique. He's a tooth threat that throws shit, so he's, I think, throwing something. So he functions, right? He does his job. I think he expresses the character really well. Daredevil is going to go up into A. I think this model looks great. Like, talk about a character I don't really care about, but this mini makes me want to care about them. It's actually kind of sweet. All right, we have Mayor Fisk. I really like Mayor Fisk. I'm going to put him in the top of B. He's an early model, right? But I do think he works really well. There could be more action posed versions of him in the future, but right now does his job. And I think the kind of like putting his hand on his chest thing makes me think having all of his other allies around him jumping into battle, it would kind of fits, right? He's the one sitting back and watching it happen. So Beast is one of my favorite characters, period, but also I think his pose is really cool. He's got this like Spider-Man hanging off of a girder thing. I don't know exactly what you want to call it, but that's a type of pose that Atomic Mass Games likes to go back to a lot. But I think Beast does it really well. Cyclops is another character that I think just exemplifies what they're doing. I kind of wish they had little laser beam effects, but what can you do? This is not bad, though. The mini is really cool. Probably cool to paint, too, and I'm looking forward to it. Okay, Mephisto is in S. I think this mini is great. There's really nothing else you could do with it. It's amazing. What I would have potentially added is more debris around him, but they added that into the game, right? It's part of the gameplay, so it doesn't need to be part of the mini. I think Mystique is similarly really strong. I'm going to put her just above Beast. I think the mini doesn't need to be doing much. She's a stealthy assassin shapeshifter. She's stealthying and assassinating. You know what I mean? She's doing cool shit. I think Sabretooth is a really sweet model, but not A tier material. I'm going to put them in the top of B. They're action pose. They have hero rock, and I think they're really fun to paint. But it's not like you look at Sabretooth and go, oh man, it's Sabretooth, right? I think there could have been something to it, but it's okay. Toad, I think, is really strong just behind Sabretooth. It's a really cool mini. A mini you're going to see a lot of, and it doesn't clash, as I say a lot, it doesn't clash against the newer minis, like some characters do. I think Storm is really strong. I think she's probably up there with Cyclops in terms of, I don't know, she's actually ahead of Cyclops. I'm going to put her just behind Mystique. Looks really cool. She has the lightning effect going on, right? She's floating. I think this mini is one of the first ones I saw that I was like, oh, okay, they're going to do some really cool effects as well as actual, the characters themselves. Wolverine's a classic. I think he looks great. I don't think he changed much. I'm putting him top of A. Nah, fuck it. Put him. I didn't mean to do that. I'm putting him in S. I'm going to put him above Orvis, but that's, he's Wolverine and he's doing a Wolverine schnick or whatever you call it. So I dig it. Speaking of minis that I really dig, I really like She-Hulk. She is super cool. She's throwing a girder. I think I actually got that right this time. And I really enjoyed painting this mini. I think it's a really cool mini for She-Hulk. All right, Angela, I think is... I don't have enough experience with her in particular, but I think she kind of like matches the whole like good enough vibe, right? She fits the character. She's coming down from the air, but I don't know enough about the character or anything to really say, what you would have done better. So I'm gonna put her in B. And Enchantress, I think, looks really great. I think that's a really, really cool model. I'm gonna put her just below Sabretooth in B. Once again, another Asgardian that I don't really have any experience with, but I've looked at the mini a ton, and I do think she looks really great. I might actually put her above Sabretooth. Yeah, I'll put her at top of the B. All right, now we have Boltigar, or Blackagar Boltigan, also known as Black Bolt. He is going to go in the top of C, as in I wish he had done something more than just shouting, and he has like a little thing in front of him that he blows up. I don't know. For the leader of the Inhumans, or one of many, I think he could have been more interesting. But, you know, they did do something to make him look like he's, like, using his special ability, and that I appreciate. All right, Medusa. I think Medusa is, unlike her husband, pretty damn cool looking. I would say she's probably top of B. I might readjust things as I go to, or when I get to the end, but we'll see. I really like not Angela. Damn it, what is her name? Medusa. I think Medusa's really cool. I think the fact that she's walking on her hair is really cool. She has a really interesting silhouette, one like unique silhouette that you don't really see anywhere else. You can pick her out of a crowd really easily, but I am a fan of Crystal as well. I think Crystal looks really cool. I'm going to put her just below Medusa. I don't think she's super interesting, right? But she's kind of like riding the wind, like she's got fire in one hand, earth in the other. They're definitely showing off what she does and her whole thing. All right, we're going to put Lockjaw in S tier, excuse me. It's a big boy, good boy. He's a big dog. I would love to paint this model. I think this would probably be my favorite model to paint just because he's a big dog. And look at that face. That's a face only your mother could love. Quicksilver. I think this model is actually pretty sweet. I'm going to put Quicksilver at, let's see, somewhere in the top of A. I think Quicksilver is one of those characters that, like, as a speedster, what are you going to do? He's going to run fast, right? And I think they do it really well. I can't imagine anything else they would have done with it. His sister, however, I think she's pretty cool. I don't really have an issue with her, but I struggle to put her anywhere other than, like, A, or excuse me, top of B. Maybe not, you know, any further than that. And here, oh wait, puppy, come on, relax. It's the male person. Puppy, why you barky? Why you barking? All right, we got Puppy to help us. Where are we putting Sin? Where did Sin go? Shit, she moved somewhere, didn't she? Did I put her? Oh, okay. I think Sin is not actually that bad of a model, but probably not above like Zemo, excuse me. She's just another lady with a gun. She does the job though, and I like her a lot. Viper, I think, is more interesting than is her counterpart. I might put her. Ooh. I might put her just above Crystal in terms of models that I think have like visual interest, stuff like that. So. Mr. Sinister. Ooh, this guy looks like a goofball. He's gonna go in That's a tough one. I'm gonna put him just above Miss Marvel. So, Mr. Sinister looks like a goofball, a little bit more of a goofball than you'd want your villain character to be, but he's kind of a gay vampire anyway, so like he's gonna be a little campy, right? Gotta let him have that. I don't think the mini's bad though. I really do. I think he's like popping out of the pit or whatever you want to call it, and he's obviously like doing the whole commanding, pointing his allies to go strike pose. I don't think he does it that badly, but yeah, it's up to the painter, I think, to make this mini look really good. So that's definitely a type of mini for sure. All right, so we're back. Sorry about that. All right, so where are we? Deadpool. I think Deadpool is not a model I'm super happy with, not because he's doing like the big flamboyant thing, but because he's on top of a rocket that says Zoom, right? Like, this model is asking to be kitbashed, and that's what I ended up doing. So, I'm pretty happy with what I did, though. So, Bob, Agent of Hydra, I think is going to go up, let's say... I mean, I think this mini is great. I'm going to put him above Quicksilver. I think he's a great little mini to paint. Super fun, super interesting. And he makes up for all of Deadpool's sins, because you can take... Well, I don't want to just show you. Here, All right, so what I ended up doing is I took the rocket that Deadpool, oh, excuse me, there you go. The rocket that Deadpool's on, and come on. Whoa. The rocket that Deadpool's on, and I put it on Bob's rocket launcher. And then it just leaves Deadpool to be Deadpool, right? So, Agent Bob, come here, puppy, come here. What can I do? Agent Bob does his job. Cable is an S tier model and one of the models that made me want to get into the game. I'm gonna say he's right up there with Thanos. Like, this model looks great. He's blocking a bunch of bullet shots with his like force field, right? This is the kind of mini that you want to see in other games, honestly. His compadre, Domino, I think is going to be at the top of A in terms of really cool models. Like this character a lot, and she plays to her story, right? She's like, a grenade is going off and she's riding the debris, so she's so lucky, right? She gets a benefit out of having grenades explode. Next character is Iron Fist. I don't think this character's all that interesting. It's one of the issues of having a character that's like posed for a very specific thing, and then you put him in other positions or other areas and it looks a little odd. Like, have him sitting behind a car is kind of weird because he's actively doing some big punch. But what can you say? I think Luke Cage is really great. Really cool mini. I'm going to put him up there. Right above Agent Bob. Can't wait to paint this guy. Really good character in the game, but that's not what we're talking about here. And we have ASM, Amazing Spider-Man. They are, unfortunately, kind of on my shit list for having the biggest girder, right? It's just this big thing, and I mean, I get it. Spider-Man needs stuff to swing off of, but when more of the mini is the girder than actually Spider-Man, it kind of looks a little weird. And we have to adjust, don't we? Well, whatever. We'll move back up when we need to see S tier. So Black Cat, I think, looks pretty dang cool. She's like doing a ninja flip, but similar to Iron Fist, it kind of looks odd when she's across the battlefield, right? Like, she's not doing. Why is she ninja flipping? I don't know. Very cool though. Very cool. Carnage, I think, is up there with probably one of the worst models to build, but one of the coolest models to have and paint, and he's awesome. I think having all the tendrils everywhere is really sweet, but once again, actually getting them to all come together is kind of a pain in the ass. What are you barking at, homie? Relax. Relax. I will do something non-violent. Okay. Mysterio. This is also a question of whether I can name all the characters in Marvel Crisis Protocol. Mysterio is, I think, actually a really cool mini. Up there, I think, right behind Daredevil. I love the amount of area that you have as a painter to really kind of go into whatever you want to do with the character, right? I'm looking forward to painting that Chrome Dome, but he doesn't really need to do much more than he is, so I'm really cool with this mini. I like the posing, I like all that. I think Kraven is up there above Daredevil as just a great pose, right? It is a little weird because once again he's doing like a coup de grace, but on what if you were just running around the battlefield? But what can you do? What is that? Oh, Jesus, that's Lizard. Lizard, I think, is an S tier mini, right above Wolverine. Lizard is like jumping out of a sewer grate, and there's water splashing everywhere, and he's huge. And it's just a great mini. It's really, really cool. Can't wait to paint this guy. And we have Captain America, Sam Wilson. I'm going to say Sam is probably up there, probably top of A in terms of people who are riding an explosion. I do like this mini a lot. I think it's great. I'm looking forward to picking it up. Unfortunately, his box mate looks really sweet, but is not great in the game. So like the mini is awesome. I think the mini is really cool. Probably one of my favorite Iron Man style minis, right? But yeah, I have yet to paint or build him. We have shit. Oh my god, what's her name? Nope. Xavier's sister. There we go. Proxima Nova? No, something Nova. I don't remember. I'm getting her confused with a bunch of other characters. She's also popping out of a sewer grate, but like it's not all that interesting. I'm gonna put her top of C. She's a little bald lady with a scarf. You know, whatever. Jean Grey, I think, is actually a really cool model. This is a really sweet model. Maybe not like related to their strength in the game, right? But that's okay. I think the mini is really cool. I would like to build it, if not for the fact that it comes with the other lady that I don't remember her name. All right, we got Omega Red. I think Omega Red is one of those characters that does his job very well, right? I'd say he's a strong B. Yeah, strong B. He's just like, the tentacles are all really cool. He's, I suspect, one of those characters who is kind of like snowball shaped, right? The mini, you can kind of just like grab it like a claw, so that there isn't any piece that like specifically stands out awkwardly. But otherwise, yeah, I think it's a really cool model. Not doing anything that I would find too awkward, even in battle. You know, as I'm saying this, I think he's going to go up. I'm going to put him just below MODOK. All right, next we have Sorceress Supreme. I don't exactly remember, but this is the lady who taught Doctor Strange. I think these guys are kind of suffering from the fact that they're just people with wizard powers standing in a pose. If they had, like the other Doctor Strange, more wizard power, maybe that would benefit, but like they're at least more interesting than the original Doctor Strange model. I'll give them that. Baron Mordo, similarly, pretty cool, but like still just kind of a dude. Now, admittedly, he's a dude that's also like running up something that's floating, and that's cool. So I think the mini is awesome, but like, yeah, okay, I'm winning myself over. I think the mini is awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna put him just above MODOK. Now we have Blade. I think Blade is cool, but suffers from the whole like he's jumping into a pit of zombies or vampires, and he's not always supposed to be doing that. Like, you know what I mean? It's just, it's kind of weird. It's like he's doing something completely unrelated to the game that you're playing. So I guess in that case, as a piece to a game, it's a little awkward. Do I think it's a cool mini? Yeah. Moon Knight, I think, is up there, one of the best minis out there in the game. Oh shit. Okay. Okay. Oh, now I keep pressing that. They are. There we go. They are just below Lizard Man and just above Wolverine. I love this mini. Moon Knight is very cool, basically doing exactly what you want them to be doing. Not too involved, not too action posy. I think it looks really great. All right, next is Clea. I think Clea is probably one of the more interesting of the just people with wizard powers. I'd put her just above Mordo because of that. And we have Doctor Strange, Sorcerer Supreme, who is like, he looks like a vampire popping out of a portal, but like, you can't really argue with that too. It looks really sweet. It looks pretty sweet. And it's much more interesting than the original model, in my opinion. Dr. Voodoo, however, is going to go up here in A, top of A. I think he's a really cool model. I really can't wait to paint this guy. It helps that he's also a cool mini in the game, but you know what? Our thing is getting huge. We might need to adjust the size of the screen. Let's see if we can do that. Well, yeah, we got to do this. Okay, let's see what we have to do. Oh boy. Okay, we need more, Captain. Okay. Kind of fixed? I don't know. We'll call it fixed. Okay. So let's see, where else are we? We have Hood. Hood, I think, is a really great mini, both because he is a twofer, right? But also because both of his models are really cool. I think he's a great example of the whole Ant-Man Wasp twofer kind of vibe. Dormammu is sick as fudge. Probably going up here in the S tier above Doggy. There we go. I think he looks great. I also love the base that he comes on, and I just finished painting it. So yeah, well, I just finished base coating it, I should say. All right, more dynamic Dr. Ock is actually going up here in terms of one of my favorite minis. I think it looks great. Just super awesome looking. No concerns, no questions here. The alternative Spider-Man is also, I think, one of my favorite Spider-Man sculpts in the game too. So that might be something I pick up, to be fair. It's actually a kit I want to pick up because it has the terrain set too. Hulkbuster armor is rad as fudge. I'm gonna put Hulkbuster just below Dormammu, and I'm gonna include his little Iron Man because I don't mind this Iron Man. I actually think this Iron Man is one of the better little Iron Mans, but whatever. We have another twofer, Kamala Khan. We have where are we gonna put her? I think she's great. I really do think she's a cool model. But I'm going to put her just above Goblin in S. Along with her in Bigification. Is that what it's called? I don't know what it's called, clearly. Colossus is one of those characters I like a lot. I'm going to put him above Blade because I like him a lot, but I don't like the fact that he's holding a Sentinel arm. Like, come on. Help me out here. And I think his sister, similarly, is just a little too dynamic. She's jumping out of a portal. Which I get, that's her thing, but, like, she's actively doing an attack. When she's, like, interacting with a citizen token, it's going to look a little weird. Gambit, I think, looks great. I'm going to put Gambit up here. Ooh, where are you going? Where are you going? Where are you going? Where are you going? Oh, Gambit, you look too cool. Oh no, you're winning. Gambit's winning. Watch out. Yeah, Gambit's top of A. Damn, that Cajun spice. Ugh. All right. No, I really do like his model though. In particular, I think it's really great. And this is gonna be Rogue. I think Rogue looks dope. Once again, though, she's chasing a Sentinel thing, and it's like, ugh, whatever. I would obviously model her without it, but that's just me. Now we have Honey Badger. I think Honey Badger looks a little awkward, personally. Just kind of T-posing. And then her sister, I think, looks a lot better. I would put her, like, bottom of A, just above Rogue. Then we have Juggernaut. I love Juggernaut as a character, but I'm not a huge fan of his posing in the game. He's like basically eating the dirt and also holding a light post, so you have to be in New York for the mini to make sense, right? That kind of limitation is a little awkward for me. I think Electro looks really sweet. I'm gonna put her in A. Very dynamic posing, very interesting. Like she's jumping over a thing. I like her almost as much as Nebula. And then we have Shadowlands Daredevil. He is kind of just posing, but that's not a bad thing. I think that works. I'm gonna put him right next to his alternative version because I think they both look great. And then we have his ninjas. They are... So here's something that's kind of contentious, right? Some people hate the grunts. I think grunts are some of the best addition to the game. So fight me in the comments if you want, but I'm going to put them right between the Daredevils because I think they are awesome. All right, we are going to actually have to adjust my screen for once. This is crazy. All right. We have Fury Jr., I believe. I think he looks great. I think he's one of those minis that makes me want to start Shield just because he looks really cool and his grunts look really cool. He is kind of just doing the stand and point pose, But I think that works really well, honestly. Stand and point is going to go top of A. I need to readjust these, obviously, but you know, what can you do? Grunts are going to be right below them. No, grunts are going to be... Yeah, I'll put them together just so we don't forget. I don't remember this character, but I'm going to call her Starburst. I know that's not her name, but I don't care. She's part of the Black Order. And she's really sweet. I actually think her mini is really cool, too. There are a lot of really cool minis. I'm gonna put her like, I'm gonna put her top of A, but it's not because I think she's top of A. I just know we need to adjust these. This is another Black Order character. I think she looks really sweet, probably really fun to paint. She's got like the cool like magic energy thing going on. I'm gonna put her just above Hood. How about that? All right, we have Heimdall. I think Heimdall is one of the best minis in the game. Really sweet. Probably one of the models I look forward to the most to paint. Right? I think that's just yeah, he looks sick. And then his counterpart, box counterpart. Oh God, what's his name? Executioner. I don't remember exactly. I think he looks really sick, but we just have to be honest with each other. It's not the most interesting mini in the universe. Probably going to put him just below Black Dwarf. We have Malekith. This guy brings all the girls to the yard. I really like this mini a lot. Fully painted, it is like a sight to behold. I'm going to put him up with Heimdall and Dormammu. How many more do we have? Holy Christ. Oh, we're actually almost done. Hey, we can do this. We can punch this out. All right, next we have Dynamo. I think that's just his name, Dynamo. Golden Dynamo, something, whatever, doesn't matter. I honestly think he's one of the coolest looking Iron Mans in this game. And so for that, I'm going to put him above Doctor Strange, below New Spider-Man. There we go. We have the Starburst equivalent of the Winter Guard. I don't remember her name, but she's got some spell power thing. And I think the spell power thing is a little bit more interesting. On the other girl, Stardust or something. I don't know her name. Who cares? Then we have Red Guardian, who I think is kind of just a better looking Captain America, to be honest. But where did I put Cap? I put Cap in A, right? No. Where did I put Cap? Cap is down here, but he probably deserves to be up here. But doesn't. Okay, I will fix it later. Oh God, we gotta zoom out again. Sorry guys, it's getting pretty hard to read now. Good thing none of y'all read. We have Winter Guard. This is the bear. Honestly, the bear is so sick. Any bear in any mini game, I think, is worth looking into for painting opportunities. Just looks really sick. Not a great character in the game, but one of those minis that I really want to mess around with. And Arnim Zola, I don't think is all that interesting. He's kind of T-posing. I'm going to put him at the bottom of C. We have Baron Strucker. I think Baron Strucker looks really cool. Despite being a Nazi, he probably was not outfitted by Hugo Boss because he's wearing just like all green. But either way, looks pretty cool. I like the mini. I like that his hand's on fire. I don't like Nazis, but you know, we're talking about the mini in particular. I think he's kind of cool. So let's get him right below Spider-Man. Then we have Old Man. I think this is Old Man Nick Fury. I like grunts, so I'm gonna put these guys like somewhere. Put them above Elektra. I think they're not grunts, but you know what I mean. The 3 people on a base thing I think is really sweet, despite a lot of people not liking it. Oh, hi Cat, thank you. If old Captain America, I think he's not that bad. He looks actually kind of cool, but he's not. I don't really have any beef with him, to be honest. He's just not doing anything nuts, right? Nothing noteworthy. Original Human Torch, I would imagine, is a really cool mini to paint. I can only, speculate because I haven't bought the box yet, but I would say they're up there with like the bear in terms of minis that I would want to paint. All right, we got another N-A-Z-I, but Red Skull 2 is actually one of my favorite minis. He looks really sweet. He is, he's got, what, we got grunts as well, but he's got like these lightning gauntlets. He's got lightning effects going on all around him. The actual Hydra agents that he has, I think, are one of my favorite looking grunts. So yeah, I think they look sweet. Okay, so Sentinels. I think the Sentinels are characters that kind of stand out in the game for being really cool, big dudes, but not really doing anything, or like, I don't know. I'd imagine they're fun to paint and probably more fun than these guys. So I'm going to put them up at the top of C or top of B. But other than that, now we have this special Wolverine box set. Come on, buddy. It's just Noah. Leave him alone. So we have the special Wolverine box set with Logan and Sabretooth. So, you gonna make me pick you up? You gonna make me pick you up? Okay. So, we have Logan. I think this is one of my favorite models in the game, to be fair. It looks really sweet. I don't know where to put it, but this is one of, yeah, Wolverine. One of those display models. I would love to display this guy. Sabretooth a little bit less so, but not so less that I wouldn't put him up there in S. I think he's really great. Firestorm, I think he's like Strucker, where it's like a guy with fire on his arm, but better. Looks pretty sweet, to be fair. Then we have the Blob. This is a character I actually really like. I think characters that are, for lack of a better word, fat, give the painter a lot of canvas to work with. And it's not like these intricate details that do all the work for you. It is mostly this guy's blubber. And that, I think, is a interesting challenge as a painter, as well as an opportunity to really flex your skills. So I like the Blob model a lot. I would put him up just behind Red Skull 2. Rhino is going up in S tier, not because I'm super biased, but because I'm super biased. I think the model is really great. One of the first models I bought in the game, but also it's also just like one of those guys who's doing the hero, crush into the ground thing, and it works really well. So, all right, Agent Venom. I almost called him Agent Spider. Agent Venom here, I think, is a really cool model. He suffers from having to have something to jump off of, but outside of that, I think that still puts him in A tier. He is a really cool mini. Probably just behind Nebula. All right, then we have Miss Spider-Woman, who is going to the top of A. She, I think, looks really great. She's just one of those minis that captures what I think Marvel Press's Protocol mini should look like. Then we have Beta Ray Bill, similarly, like just doing Thor 1 dirty by being a better-looking Thor 1. The issue is he's still a horse face, so whatever. Ooh, I think it's one of those characters that came out of nowhere, and I was like, wow, that actually is a really sweet mini. And so for that fact, I'm going to put him in top of A. Never heard of him before, not a big Thor fan, but he's a cool mini, and since I play Criminal Syndicate, he's a character I've wanted for a while. Now we have Emma Frost. I think Emma Frost is one of the weaker twofers, so I'm going to put her in B. She just isn't doing a whole lot, and despite the fact that you would paint her differently, the mini doesn't look all that different, right? All right, Psylocke is going up there in A because she looks awesome. She's got like the psychic blades. She's jumping forward. It's not too dynamic that like she's fighting someone, but she's doing something clearly. All right, we got MODOK Sorcerer Supreme, Scientist Supreme. I'm gonna put him just below his other version. I think he looks like he's got a part. I'll leave it at that. Immortal Hulk is a S tier model, probably my favorite model in the game. It's one of my favorite characters, Hulk, but with a way better posing and better face. Just an amazing character. Love that, love that, love that. We got Gwenpool. I think this character's kind of cool, kind of an interesting mini. I don't know if I will ever buy or pay her, but I think she's pretty sweet, actually. Same thing with Squirrel Girl. Gonna put her same place, same kind of area. We got Cosmic Ghost Rider. I think this is one of the centerpiece models that I like, but I don't like that much, right? I wouldn't put them in S, but they're really cool. They're really sweet. We have Claw. Claw is one of those characters that I think is actually an S tier model. Not because they are a good character in the game, but because of the ingenuity that went into making them, right? They're a guy who's made of sound, and he's like, you can see his like after image, and that's part of the mini. I love that. Very cool. M'Baku is the same box as Claw, and I think he's really cool. I'm going to rearrange this so you don't have to worry, but I'm going to put him over here near Black Panther, just so I remember to rearrange him. Then we have the new Zemo. I don't mind this guy. I think he looks pretty cool. He's like actively running towards you. He's the more active version of Zemo. But do I think he's better than Zemo 1? No, I don't think he's better than Zemo 1. I think he's better than Sin, though, for sure. All right, new cap. Let's see. Who's the best of the caps? I almost want to say it's Cap 2. I think Cap 2 is probably the better pose, even though it's obviously like a reference to that Rob Liefeld thing. I like the posing. I kind of fight over which of the caps I like most, and I'll do that later. But so Captain Marvel in the second core box is basically what I wanted from the first Captain Marvel, except for the fact that she's a twofer. I don't think she needs to be a twofer, right? I just think she needed to be doing something more interesting, than what she was doing. So I'm going to put her just above Miss Marvel. And then we have Brock Lesnar, or whatever the hell his shitty name is, Crossbones, the second one. But this one, he's like posing. He's doing like a hero pose. Excuse me. And I'm not super into it. Do I think it's like pretty cool to paint? Yeah, actually, probably is pretty cool to paint. So I'll put him just above MODOK. New Doctor, I think, is a great mini. In fact, up there with Magneto in terms of they nailed that character, like 100%, no question. New Iron Man, I think, is kind of a weak mini. It's not that he's like the hero rock that he's on is cool. Everything else I think is pretty cool, but he's missing something. And for that reason, I'll put him just below Goblin. Then we have Skull 3, which I actually don't like. I don't think Skull 3 is actually the best pose for this dude. I'm going to put him in C tier. I think the original Skull has a better posing and is just more interesting, which is funny because I put him below that. So let's move Skull 1 up with Black Widow for that reason. All right, next we have second core box Spider-Man, who I don't actually think is that great. I think his posing is really cool, but I don't like the fact that he comes with the symbiote. So what can you do? You might be able to take that out, but I really don't know. Similarly, I think this model is one of the best models in the game, except for the fact that she's actively hitting an Ultron bot. Now, I get it. As a core box thing, you want your characters to like kind of match together, but if you put this in any other setting, it just doesn't, it clashes, right? It clashes. So I might put her, no, she's a better model than, I think she's a better mini than Red Skull 2 or Red Skull 3. But all right, Ultron 2. Oh, I can't even, Jesus Christ, I can't even reach down there. This is going to be edited heavily, I can tell you that. All right, cool. So Ultron 2, I think, is a really great mini. I haven't built the second core box, but I do think this is a really strong mini, especially with his grunts in terms of like capturing the fantasy of Ultron, right? Better than the original, I think. And same thing with the Winter Soldier. I think the new core box Winter Soldier really captures what you can do with a mini without making them like actively doing something, right? He's more active than the original, more for sure. And who do we have here? Oh, this is Killmonger 2. I think Killmonger 2 is not a bad mini at all. I think it's actually really strong. But I almost prefer the original just because he doesn't have the mask. That might be a personal preference thing, but I don't think the mini is bad at all. And then this is what? King T'Challa. So King Black Panther. I think he looks really good. I'm going to put him just above Ultron 2. I do think that set, the T'Challa versus Killmonger set, I think that's an amazing box for sure. Oh my lord, what is wrong? Why you gotta bark? Relax. Alright, speaking of characters I think are dope, Bishop is my favorite X-Man. Or, yeah, okay, Bishop's probably my favorite X-Man. Fighting with Cyclops, but what can you do? Alright, I think Bishop is great, super fucking cool. Do I think the mini is that cool though? Not really. I don't think the mini is actually that interesting. It's kind of just like guy with gun standing on thing. It's another Morgan Freeman posed dude, basically. What can you do? And although I don't like Nightcrawler as much, I think the Nightcrawler mini is more interesting, for sure. So I'm going to put him just above Gamora. I think the Iceman mini is lit, and that is amazing. We need more shit like that. Absolutely sick. Unfortunately, I'm not a huge fan of Kitty Pryde's model, and I don't think that has anything to do with the character as much as just like I'm not as big a fan of the little dragon and the things she's riding on and all that stuff, right? I think Xavier is just about as interesting as you could get with a guy in a wheelchair, and I'm going to put him right between the two other guys with wheelchairs, which is MODOK. And we have Shadow King. I think this mini is great. Really cool, conveying that he has like this evil spirit that he's controlling, right? Yeah, I'm gonna put him just above Mysterio. Electro, I think Electro is great. Another really cool mini. I would love to paint this guy. Probably gonna put him in. I'll put him just besides Spider-Man as well. And then we have Shocker, who I think is really cool too. Great looking character, great mini, very action posy, but not too action posy. Like there's a balance you can tell here, right? Then we have Vulture. I think Vulture looks amazing. Like no question about this character looking really sick. I'm gonna put him right below Spider-Woman. Now we have Sandman, a character I was really looking forward to, and I'm glad because he looks dope. He's not great in the game, but he looks fucking amazing, and I can't wait to paint this kind of guy. Like, this is one of the models that I really want to paint. I think that'd be super sweet. Now, Gwenom. I think Gwenom is cool, and her mini is really sweet. The issue, obviously, is that she comes with the big guitar that she's sitting on, but you can swap that out for something else. So I think in terms of minis, she's really cool. I'm going to put her just above Shadowlands Daredevil. And then we have Scarlet Spider, her box mate. I think this guy looks amazing. There's really no issue with Scarlet Spider. I'm going to put him in S tier. My favorite Spider-Man mini in the game for sure. And then we have M'Baku, Chosen of Bast. I think this mini looks great. Like, this mini is so cool looking. I'm going to put him just below Psylocke, whatever. Namor, the Submariner, really cool mini as well in the box with Chosen of Bast. I think he's really sick. It's a naked dude with a thong when he's riding a wave. And I think that actually helps a lot. His hero pose helps a lot. I am not a fan of Shang-Chi, the mini. I think it's just kind of boring looking. But to be fair, that's not like any knock against him. He's got the nunchucks, right? Damn it. It is a knock against him. Okay, I'm putting him top of B. Dude, do we really have to scroll again? We have to scroll again, but we're almost done. All right. So we have Sable. I think Sable is actually a really cool mini, but not my style. I probably won't pick this mini up unless I end up, doing something weird, but I'll put her in A. I think the fact that she's like rushing forward, she's got the gun locked and loaded, but she's not actively firing it. Like, there's a lot of decisions that they make to make a character look good on the battlefield and in combat and in display, right? Like, they need to shine in all of these different contexts, so I think that works. Lady Sif, I think, is another one that's like really strong, just a really strong looking mini. I'm gonna put her on top of A, above Bast, below Psylocke. We have Loki, King of Asgard. I think this mini is cool, but like he benefits from not being dynamic and probably is going to be a great job to paint, but I almost like the original better because he's more subtle, but I know that's doesn't really match the character. Maybe I'm splitting hairs here. I'm gonna put Loki, King of Asgard, like just above Killmonger 2. All right. We have Lady Thor, God of Thunder. I think this mini is amazing. I'm going to put her in S tier, even though we can't see it anymore. There we go, S tier. I think this mini is like exactly what I wanted out of that character, and I wouldn't make any changes, no question. Thor, God of Goddamn. I think this mini is actually really sweet. I would have put him in A. I don't like him as much as the Lady Thor. I don't. Yeah, her name is just Mighty Thor, but yeah. I think he is a cool mini. The fact that he's kind of flying isn't that big of a deal, but he is like flying forward pretty horizontally like that. All right, next is Maverick. I think Maverick looks really sweet. I don't know anything about him. I don't know Weapon X. Wow, there's all those different words, but I think he looks really sweet. I think he looks really cool. I'm gonna try to find the. There you go. I'm gonna put him. I think I'm gonna put him just above Killmonger. All right. Then we have Weapon X. I think this character looks amazing, no question. Put him in S. Holy shit. Sunspot. I think he's cool. But I almost think his big fireball takes up too much of the mini, right? It's like superimposing. Or that's not the right word. It's imposing, whatever. I want to say Warlock is one of the weaker minis. Not really my vibe, and I don't know what you would do about him to change him. He's a weird looking character, but he's not even really posed all that interestingly. I don't know how you would convey what he does better, but I had to look it up, like what he does and what he's about, because I don't think the mini really conveyed anything to me. So then we have Angel. I think Angel looks amazing. Anybody with wings is going in S tier. Looks awesome, no question. Same thing with Archangel. I think both those minis knock it out of the park, no questions asked. Apocalypse, similarly S tier. Holy shit, look at this guy. He looks awesome. I want to say Dracula is like probably like, oh man, just below Namor for me. I don't think it's the most interesting mini in the game. I've seen better Draculas, better vampires, but for this game, I think it looks really good. Then we have Adam, aka Frankenstein's monster. I think this guy is just Hulk posing, but with shittier hair. So the Mummy, I don't remember his name, but I think he looks really good. I'm actually gonna put him in S tier because I think that mini just looks amazing. And the Werewolf by Night, I think, is one of the stronger of the set, but not as good as the Mummy for sure. Abomination, I think, is really cool. Just a great looking mini. Just a really good counter foil to the Immortal Hulk, but I don't think I'm going to put him in there. I'm going to put him at top at A because I do like that mini a lot. Oh, yes. Wrecking Crew, I love this mini. I'm going to put this in S. I think Wrecking Crew is a great mini because it exemplifies like the best things about the grunt aesthetic. It's 4 dudes on a base. They all work together. They're all 1/4 of an Asgardian. It's an amazing meld. I think Lord Mephisto suffers from being kind of awkward, right? He's like the Marvel equivalent of Satan, but he's also like 5'10". I don't know. There's something about this mini that I think could have been more menacing, could have been a lot of other things, but does it like convey the character Mephisto well? Yeah, I think so. I'm gonna put him in top of B. And we have Elsa Bloodstone. I think this mini looks amazing. Like, I wouldn't change anything about her. I'm gonna put her in top of A. Man-Thing, similarly, just a great mini. Putting him in S because that's where he belongs, obviously. Nova, I think, is a great mini as well. Like, you convey just about everything you need to about the human rocket, right? He's jumping off of this thing. He's this big explosion. There's a lot of stuff going on. So then we have Yondu. I don't think this guy suffers for anything other than just being kind of like uninteresting, but with the whistle floating over him, I think he does gain a few spots over other characters. So I'm going to put him in kind of the Guardians of the Galaxy area. We have Gorgon, a new intro to the game, but I think he looks really good. He's one of those characters that like just does a great job of introducing you to the character. He's very action posed without doing too much, so it's just a great character overall. I think Karnak is similar, like gives you a lot of reason to want to pick up the character or the box, I'd say, but maybe not as good or as interesting as these guys. I'm gonna put him just above Dracula. Then we have King Black Bolt, I think King Black Bolt deserves to be an S tier. I think this guy really does kick it out of the park in terms of the mini itself. The character is exemplified in the mini and in the animation, the sort of pose that they have. Right, I think everything about that thing is great. Maximus the Mad, I think, is a similarly good mini. Looks really sweet. I'm gonna put him right next to Gorgon. Not a great character in the game, I hear, but that's not what we're here for, right? We're talking about the mini themselves. Do I think the mini, stands out? Yeah, I think he's great. Gladiator is an S tier. Holy shit, just pick this guy up. I love this mini. I think this is one of the best minis in the game for sure. No question. Phoenix, I don't think she's bad, but boy, is she she is a like stellar display mini, right? I don't think she's posed very interestingly, but that's fine. Like her fire makes up for it in every way, I think. And you don't want to distract from it either, right? Okay, we got the last couple. Let's finish this off real quick. We have Avalanche, and I think Avalanche is actually doing a really good job. He looks pretty cool. I'm gonna put him right below Nightcrawler. How about that? We have Exodus. This guy's dope. Really cool mini. I'm going to put him just below Winter Soldier 2. We have Lady Mastermind. I like this mini a lot, actually, because what this mini does is she shows off what, like, the crazy things that her opponents are hallucinating. So, really cool mini. I like that. I don't necessarily like that kind of sticks her with that theme forever, right? Like, she can't be anything more than the lady that's summoning a tiger and a bat or whatever, but what can you do? Next, we got Prowler. I think Prowler is a really cool mini. Jumping down from the sky and having your cape be your base, I think, is a really sweet way to do superhero, folks. I can't really say... I mean, I do think they're an S-tier model. I think that's a really cool pose. And I probably like them more than Phoenix as well. But... Alright, and then the Spider-Man 2099, I think looks really, really good. Like, these newer models are knocking it out of the park. But once again, he's riding something, so you kind of have to figure that out, right? Do you want to have that as part of the mini? Do you need to kit bash it? Yeah, okay, I should probably drop him for a couple points. Put him right behind Blob for that reason. And we have Ultimate Spider-Man, Miles Morales, who I think is really cool. Great mini. S tier for sure. No questions asked. Then we have Silk from the new pack for Spider-Folk. I think she's really cool. I think there's no question that she's an A tier. Same thing with Spider-Ham. Oh, man. I want to say Spider-Ham is an S, and here's the weird reasoning, right? He's the best mini out of the minis. Huh? You get it? He's the smallest character, but okay. Spider-Man Noir, I think, is a really cool mini. Does just about everything you need him to do. Although he's doing the whole, like, sitting on something, so I'm worried about his structural components, but otherwise I think he's looking really cool, right? Oh, I don't remember this girl's name. She's not out yet. Echo, I believe. She looks pretty cool. She's kind of just like menacing. She's aura farming, right? So I'm going to put her just above Blob. But yeah, she does look actually really sweet in that mini. And then who is this? Is this Ronin? This must be Ronin. I think the Ronin model does look good, right? It's like a really well-made model. Maybe not my favorite, but I'm going to put him just below Shadowland Daredevil for that reason. Tigress, I think, is a great model as well, except I don't know what she's jumping off of. She's got something under her foot that's like kind of weird, so I'm going to put her behind Gamora. Then we have two characters I haven't actually seen, so all I can really do is base it off of, what I think I've seen. And from what I think I've seen, Blue Marvel looks really sweet, right? I think they really killed it with that character. And I unfortunately don't remember the character that comes with Blue Marvel, but I think she looked pretty sweet too, so I'm going to put her up there. All right, let's do a very quick review. I want to get this over with, mostly because it's already been almost 2 hours of me talking about Marvel minis. But out of all the minis, who needs to be adjusted? Let us see. So I think for sure we need to move some folks up in A tier, right? We absolutely need to move Black Panther. Black Panther should be like right up at the top. we should probably see. I think Strucker can probably go down in B, right? We can probably clear out. Oh, Bishop, you're disappointing me. You're going in B. Yeah, y'all can go in B. And then, yeah, out of the Bs though, I think captains, the captains are probably up there. Okay, Captain 3 is winning me over. Oh man, is he going up next to Sam? Yeah, he's going up to Sam Wilson. Okay. And then let's see. Who else needs to be bumped? I think Rocket needs to be bumped, right? Clearly. Because the Mini is just too cool. I think the Mini is just too damn cool. And keep in mind, this isn't exhaustive or anything. It's just me kind of like talking about the Minis in particular. I like them a lot. I'm a painter, so it's a big thing for me. I think Gamora is strong as hell as a Mini. I think she's just a really cool one in particular that I wanna keep in mind. Yeah, Sam Wilson too, though, right? Ugh. I don't think Nova needs to be up there as high. But he's definitely like good. Yeah. I'd say he's right there, right between Loki's Lord of Asgard and Shocker. All right. Well, at this point, I'd say why don't you guys just sound off in the comments? Let me know what you think, because this was a hell of a ride, right? Almost 2 hours of. Well, it wasn't actually 2 hours. It was more like an hour and a half or whatever. Almost 2 hours of going through these models. Let's just go through real quick. I can give you a quick overview. We have S tier right here, and then we have A tier just below that with just a bunch of folks in there. Because to be fair, the minis in this game are great, right? They're awesome. Then we have B tier, which is, yeah, I think most of these people are deserving of being in B tier for all the reasons I mentioned earlier, right? Maybe not Black Bolt, or excuse me, Black Dwarf. I think Black Dwarf is really, really pretty sweet. Yeah, and it's hard for me to judge things that I haven't painted and built myself, but like, I think these are pretty strong. All right, this guy, our Invincible Iron Man can go down. I don't think he needs to be up there. Neither does Brock. Let's put Brock in B. He's just not as interesting, I think, as the others, right? Yeah. I think I'm happy with this. Yeah, so we have B, and then we have C tier, right? They are the folks who are not as inspiring, not as interesting. And then we have D tier, the like, oh god, what is this? Like, they could have just done so much better. And then F tier, like, throw it in the trash. Don't even care. All right. Thank you so much for joining, folks. I really do appreciate it. We are going to go to raid now.